Hello world. Mic.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Did you understand what I just typed into the chat? It's a nice joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Ping.
Pang. Ping. Pong. So should we get started? Hello. Can anybody hear me?
Yes,
Sure, you
we
can
can.
see.
Oh, awesome. I had some technical issues. I can see Mike Kimathi is here. Hello, Mike. Hello, Lucky. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Sigu.
Hello, Sibu. How are you?
I'm good. Who is this Elixir Conf Africa? We'd love to know who this is today. Before you get started on ETS. So I can see the meeting is being recorded, so we can just get started. Majority of those who would have joined, about 5 members are out. So we might just be the 6 of us today. All right, so there was this proposal last week that we can, someone just made me the host and left. I don't know who that is. The proposal that we can start doing we pick a topic and talk about it. So this is probably the first experiment that we're going to do with that. And the topic, which
Siku, sorry for interrupting you. I was wondering because I see lots of people are not able to get in. I don't know whether I can, since you're the host, I don't know whether I can share the link with them on WhatsApp. It means Siku just left. Hand.
Hello.
Tracy kept me wondering, is it Sigu or is it me?
It's you. Habari zenyu? Nasikika?
Yes, I can hear you.
Tunakusikia.
Okay. So on our last meeting sikuwa, though nimekuwa updated on what was to be discussed. So today we are supposed to discuss ETS and Mnesia. Acha niweke kwa chat. That word. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with ETS and I don't know, the second one inakata kutoka. So I'm also not that familiar with ETS, but we can mob on it if that's okay. Sigo skiki vunonge.
Can anybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the whole point of what we are trying to do. So sorry, of course, you interrupted me. I did hear a thing that you are saying. I had some technical issues. So I don't know if I missed anything on your end that I really need to know before we continue.
No, we good. You missed
All right,
nothing.
thank you. Okay, thank you. So why did you interrupt me if I missed nothing? All right, so the suggestion last week was, what if we get into this call and just start talking about something? So suggestion, ETS tables and Mnesia, whichever way you want to call it. So that's the first experiment that we're going to do today. So this involves all of us. We need to speak as much as we can. We just need to throw in all our stupid ideas and just try things out and ask questions. No one is going to answer them and everyone is going to answer them either way because we all have ideas, but we are not expert in this field. That is my assumption at this point. So that is the whole point, and that is what we're trying to do today about ETS tables and Mnesia. I don't know how you want to move. So I might be leaving earlier, so I'll just let Tracy run the session. I'll be here. I'll be contributing for as long as I'm still available. So Tracy, feel free to share your screen. We start by the usual search Mnesia, Elixir, or ETS tables Elixir, and just see what's out there.
Okay, just a few minutes, then I share my screen.
A few minutes, wow.
A minute.
Yeah, the host needs to allow you. Who is the host right now?
Lucky, in case you don't know, it just jumped to you.
Yeah, Lucky.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me just move the host to.
Okay, I'm still disabled.
Yeah, the host now.
Yeah, Tracy, you're now the host, so.
There you go. You can also see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll first do the first thing that we usually do. Search for ETS. Do we go with ETS for
Elixir? Just type ETS Elixir. Elixir. Enter.
Okay, we're there.
Awesome. At least you have something from the official docs.
We're taken to we're there. Okay, so we are given two topics that we'll go through. That is ETS as a cache and the race condition. So I can suggest someone to start for us. Okoth, will you mind?
No, I don't mind. Is that supposed to be positive or negative if I say I don't mind? So I'll start with so we've given two topics as Tricia suggested. So we have ETS as a cache and or cache and risk conditions, which is a question mark. We'll see why maybe. So this chapter is a part of the mix and OTP guide, and it depends on previous chapters in this guide. For more information, read the introduction guide or check out the chapter index in the sidebar. So I believe this is more like the saying this is a little bit advanced because you need to read the introduction. So yeah. So every time we need to look up a bucket, we need to send a message to the registry. In case our registry is being accessed concurrently by multiple processes, the registry may become a bottleneck. So I think we need to dissect or maybe try to understand what that means before we continue. That is.
That might need us to try and understand and go back to read more about mix and OTP. So I think we can just try out our luck and see if we advance, if we'll be able to understand what's going on without necessarily trying to backtrack, because if we try to backtrack, we don't know how farther back we need to backtrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So in this chapter, we will learn about ETS, a long-term storage. So that's the long meaning of, the full meaning of that. So a long-term storage, and how to use it as a cache mechanism. So there's a warning there.
What's a cache mechanism? Not in Elixir, but what's a cache mechanism generally?
So to my understanding, a cache is something, maybe let's say, let me put it in a context of web, right? The browser stuff and stuff like that. So maybe I make a request, right? And then I fetch something, let's say from a database, or maybe from the backend, that is, and I'm using the browser. So I'll go there and store some information in the front end or in the browser. And then when I try making a request, and then I realize that there's no changes in the database, there's no need of going back there. Or maybe instead of going to the database, I have some storage on the browser which I can work with. Instead of going to the database, I can access them. I can say quote locally within the browser, that is.
Yeah, that reminds me of some place I've really wished I could use ETS for. So look at an example of XUSSD for the wrapper around Africa stocking USSD application. So if you look at that as an example, every time a user makes a request, when you do *144#, send that request, you initiate a USSD session. When you do a response, you can respond with 1000*, whichever response you do, it's normally concatenated into a string. And how the developer responds to you depends on maybe the previous input or maybe the current input. So a cache to me in this case will be, what if every time you as a user, you initiate a session, I create a temporary storage with relevant information as for your current session. Okay, so I create a temporary storage for your current session that I can quickly refer to without hitting any database at any one point. So that to me can be an example of a cache. I'll see which were your previous responses, what was your previous mistakes, how do I make the next good logical response back to you based on your previous other things. I don't know if I've complicated or made sense on that. So to me, it's like a temporary fast access to information that needs to be stored somewhere.
Yeah, makes sense. So I don't know if anybody has an opinion before I go on.
That's clear to me.
Okay, let me continue then. So there's a warning there. So warning, do not use ETS as a cache prematurely. Log and analyze your application performance and identify which parts are bottleneck, so you know whether you should cache and what you should cache. This chapter is merely an example of how ETS can be used. Once
Before we continue,
right?
there's this term that has been introduced, the bottleneck. So if someone can kindly explain.
Okay.
Can I give you a Swahili word for bottleneck?
Yeah, if you can all understand Swahili.
Kizungumkuti.
Kitatanishi.
Do you know how the neck of a bottle looks like? You can search that neck bottle on Google Images.
So I can equate it to hindrance, right? Something which maybe is a little bit of a problem, right?
Yeah, so just neck bottle. Yeah. Search. Just okay. You're already at Google, so good searching skills. Go to images. Perfect. So the third image. Look at the third image.
This one.
Yeah, it's a nice brown bottle. So if you look at this and you fill it with water, not water, whatever is supposed to be filled in it, the cold drink in it, and you want to pour it out, can you pour out the content immediately? Okay, the moment you turn it upside down, can the content be emptied? Can the bottle be emptied immediately?
No.
It can't happen immediately.
Why?
Okay, because it will take time for that bottle to be emptied.
Yeah, what makes it take time? Or compare this to a glass.
Okay, for the glass, it has a wider mouth. For a bottle, it has a smaller mouth. So
Okay.
with the content inside.
So what's the difference? The difference between this and a glass is, what's the difference between what you're seeing and a normal drinking glass?
Okay, first is the size of the bottle. Then the shape of the bottle.
So the only difference is from the middle up. Otherwise, it's just a glass, if I'm not wrong. If you cut this into half, then it's a glass. It's no longer a bottle.
Yeah.
So what makes it a bottle?
The upper part.
The upper part.
Which is yeah.
Yes. And that's what makes the water not to clear out immediately. So that's what you call a bottleneck. So a bottleneck is something that restricts. Everything was flowing okay, but now it restricts the current flow. That's your bottleneck. Yeah. Everything was working perfectly okay until you got to that particular point where you have to squeeze through a smaller opening, just like it happens on the traffic. When it's open, it's okay, but once you bring back everyone into 2 lanes, then there's a lot of traffic jam. That's the bottleneck.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so there's one from Mike Kimathi. A bottleneck is a blocker. It's a challenge. It's a changamoto. Hey, that's a nice analogy. Awesome. So the only reason you can't really flush that brown bottle so fast is because of the bottleneck. It stops you from drinking the whole bottle immediately, if you understand what I mean.
Okay, I understand.
Yes. Have you ever tried that before?
Mike. Mike have tried that before. And that's why he has the very good analogies of it. So okay, so Tracy, can I continue?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so ETS as a cache. So ETS allow us to store any Elixir term in an in-memory table. Working with ETS tables is done via Erlang. That's Erlang's module. That's ETS module in Erlang.
Does in-memory means it's on the RAM? An in-memory table, does that mean it's on the RAM?
Yes.
I don't know if it's in the disk or in the RAM. I mean, when I say disk, I mean the hard disk. But I believe it's in the RAM. Yeah, in the RAM.
It's in memory, so I don't think there's any in disk. Of course.
But disk is also memory, right?
No.
Okay.
They are both storage.
Oh yeah. You're right.
If it's in the
So,
memory,
yeah.
if it's in the RAM, it means it's a temporary data can only stay for as long as for not too long then.
Yeah, so we can assume this is the RAM for the moment, right? So it's a table that's created on the RAM by your application.
Okay.
Yeah. That's actually based on what you've just said, Lucky.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we've given the first example we're given is that we create an ETS. So we use a function called .new. So I believe the first argument. Okay, I'll make a guess here because I'm not that sure. So we'll read on to make a good assumption. But the first.
Of course, I have a suggestion. Can you just open up
Okay.
terminal and confirm all the allegations that you're about to make? So let's try look up the documentation for ets.new. So Tracy, just open up your terminal.
Okay. I'll stop sharing dogo alafu nirudi.
Okay.
So what I want her to do is try and look at, so just go into IEX. Whoa. No version, you don't have Elixir installed.
No version search for Erlang.
Yeah.
I have Elixir installed.
Okay, so you need to set up a global Erlang. Do you have Erlang 24? Yeah.
Yes, I do have.
Not local.
Global.
Not local, global.
Okay.
All right. So how do you check up documentation for a particular Erlang module? Can you try H for help?
H will work.
H will work.
H will work. Yeah. And then colon. Is it colon or that thing?
Yeah.
ETS. You can press tab. Okay, ETS. Then tab will work.
.new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it works. Okay. This module was compiled without documentation. Who compiled it without documentation? Who did that? Let me see. How do you compile without docs? Let me split mine. I'm just trying it out on my end. Maybe. ETS.new. Yeah, module was compiled without docs. I think
I think
there
that's
might
usually
be. Uh-huh.
that usually happen to some modules in Erlang, not all of them though, but some.
Okay. So, or maybe it's an ASDF thing. The other thing that we can do is to search for Erlang docs for ETS.new. All the best if we are able to maneuver through. So just go to your browser and search for ETS Erlang. Oh yeah, that was fast. Oh, don't expect hex docs style of styling for these docs.
Okay, we're there.
All right, let's look for new. ETS new.
To your left, Tracy.
To your left,
Let
yeah.
me see if we can get it from here. I'm there. Yeah, we're there.
Awesome. So we can see it's
Okay,
okay. It's jumping. It's jumping up and down. It's jumping. So new takes the name and options, right? Then it returns a TID or an atom. I have no idea what a TID is. Oh, it's probably a table ID.
Table ID.
Yeah, it's probably a table ID. Okay, so it takes the name and a set of options. I can see the second paragraph after that. Parameter options is a list of options that specifies. That's like the last paragraph on this page. Specifies the table type, access rights, key position, and whether the table is named. Default values are always omitted. This means that not specifying that if you don't give it any options, then it will be set protected key position 1 and all that complicated stuff. So let's say the first one is the name, the second one is a set of options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can I go back to terminal or docs?
Docs. Yeah, so we're creating a table. So the table's name will be buckets registry, and then we are setting it to protected. So I quite didn't clearly catch what this is supposed to mean. They're setting it to protected. I believe maybe it's permission issues or something like that. And then so after we've created the table, we can insert. So in this case, I mean, if you create a table, we are given a reference. So this is the table ID, right? And then so we can use that table ID to insert into the table. For example, in this case, we've inserted a tuple which contains foo and self. Self is the PID of the, in this case, this IEX, or the process which is running, which is IEX in this case. So the return value is true. So when the insertion is successful, I believe it returns true. And then the third line, or the third IEX line, that is, we are looking up. So we can look up. We also take the table ID, and then foo. I don't know why he's used foo alone in this case, and then it returns a PID. That is so. Because when I was inserting foo and self, but here I'm just
Okay. Let's look up for documentation of insert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Tracy.
So I'll just go back to Erlang.
Yeah.
Did you close my guy? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, let's look up insert. So text a table, tab is a table, then object or objects, then returns true. So inserts the objects or all objects in the list of objects onto the table. If the table
I'm seeing
type
object is a tuple, right? So sorry, Segu.
the types object is a tuple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Just below it where we have types. So table is a table, and object or objects is either a single tuple or a list of tuples. I don't know if I'm making. If you don't understand what we are saying, just let us know. We are all assuming, by the way, just inferring from what we can see. Okay, it seems everyone is okay. So if the table is set and the key of the first inserted object matches the key, this is how you can replace or not replace values. So not important, but you need a tuple, and the tuple needs to have a key and a value. That's how object store works. The key is this, the value is that.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I've understood why they use that. So I think Tracy, you can take me back to the doc then. Yeah. So in this case, so we are inserting, right? So we're inserting. So the first argument should be the table, which is the ID of the table, right? So the TID, and then it takes a tuple, which the first value, okay, it's a key and value, which in this case the key is foo, and then the value is self, right? And then now I can ascertain that when we're looking up using the key. In this case, I'm giving it a table ID, and then I'm looking up with the key, which is foo, and then it will return me the key and the value, in this case, foo and the PID, which I gave it in line during insertion, that is.
Oh yeah, so if I look up the table, it gives me the key and the value. Yeah, so it returns the object actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look up function and see what it takes and what it returns.
The docs of ETS.
Yeah, of course. It's right in front of your eyes, Tracy.
I'm there.
Oh, yeah. So it takes a table and a key, then returns the object. Oh, that's from, please highlight what I'm talking about. Lookup takes a table, a key, and returns an object. Yeah. Table, the key, returns an object. No, a list of objects. Where the table is a table, the key is a term, and the object is a tuple.
So in this case, the term means it can be anything, right? It can be anything. Any data type, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, hello, just to be clear, you said if it can be any data type, initially you said it's a tuple. It doesn't mean that, and a tuple is a key value pair. It doesn't mean that the key, it will always have a key, then the value can be any data type. That is, could be a list and then or anything.
So just to clarify that, when you look at lookup, right? So you see that the first, okay, when you look at where they said types, Tracy, can you kindly highlight that, please?
No, I see types, the table, the key, then.
Yeah, so when you look at the tab is what we call the table ID, right? So the table itself, so it's the ID, which is specifically there's a type called tab, right? And then we have the key, which is term. So in this case, term means it can be a list, it can be an integer, it can be anything, right? And then they say object must be a tuple, right? So that it's just trying to explain whatever is written in lookup. So lookup takes the first argument as tab, the second argument as the key, and then returns a list of objects. So it's explain what an object is supposed to be, which is a tuple. So it's a list of tuple, that is, and then the key should be any term. So it can be any term in this case, in that when you're inserting, you can insert using any term, that is, you can use integer, you can use anything, that is.
Yeah, Okoth, now that you've talked about it, I've actually thought term. I don't think term is anything because a collection is not a term. When you talk about a list, we can't say the list is a term.
Okay.
Yeah. I think term may be the first. How do you call these data types? The primitive data types. Any primitive data type is maybe the term. Maybe. I'm not sure about that. So it can be a PID, it can be integer, it can be a string, an atom. Yeah, so that's probably what the term is. It's a bit weird to have a list as a term. I don't think it's even possible. We can try. Actually, let's try that. Oh, yeah, Tracy, let's just open up IEX and try having a list as the key.
Yes, so first we create a table.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So just give it a variable table. It's not responding to tab.
No, you've not put a colon.
Oh.
At the beginning of ETS. Yeah.
So just a name.
Okay, yeah.
So just give it bucket registry. Should I give it the same permission? Protected.
Okay.
So we have our table. Then the next part you can insert. So
try inserting using
table.
Okay.
Pardon?
Yeah. So in this case, it's supposed to be. Then it takes a tuple. So try using something which is maybe a list, a list of 1, 2.
That will be our key.
And then give it a value. Value can be a string, maybe.
Let me give it 4.
Let's see what. Yeah.
Okay, so that has been inserted.
Let's try looking it up.
Let's look up the list then.
Oh.
Here's a lookup.
It takes the table.
So from the table.
And then the key, which was the list of 1, 2, right?
List of 1, 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Sigu, this
So it will
this,
return
this
the
surprising.
Yeah. So we are muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is surprising. Takes in anything as a key and anything as a value. So really interesting stuff.
Just curious though, can you pattern match
when you
the
look at that term. Pardon?
I'm just curious, can you pattern match the key? Maybe you put in one, then the underscore. The other one should be
There
That
should be
can
other
be tried,
functions that allow you to do that.
but
I'm not sure that may work.
the reason why underscore won't work, I'm making a theory, is because underscore is more like a variable, right? So I'm not using this variable, so it cannot be a value, right? But you can try. So because it's not a value, so it cannot be like using this case, that is.
Okay, yeah.
There's an error. That's
Yeah.
so invalid use of underscore.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Okay, can proceed.
Yeah. So I'll jump onto when creating an ETS table, two arguments are required: the table name and a set of options. Should I go through this, because I think it's just what we just did? Okay, but for formality, let me just go through it. So when creating an ETS table, two arguments are required: the table name and a set of options. From the available option, we pass the table type and its access rules. We have chosen the set type, which means that the key cannot be duplicated. We also we also have set the table access to protected. So I believe that there are different options. In this case, we have set. Set means that the table cannot be duplicated. I don't know whether I believe that there is also another option which is equivalent to set, but have different usage. In this case, you can duplicate keys. I believe so. So protected means protected meaning only the process that created the table can write to it, but all processes can read from it. Yeah. So the access are as follows. We have public. So these are read and write, available to all processes. We have protected, available to read, available to all processes, only writable by the owner of this process. This is the default, and then we have the private, which is limited to the owner. So read and write are limited to the owner. I believe if you've done OOP, this sounds familiar, a little bit familiar, that is. So
Maybe you can
the
try
access
playing
level.
with it on the terminal.
Yeah, I'd love to see how other options come along, especially to deal with set.
Okay, so how can we look at the options?
Tracy, while you're setting that up, sorry to interrupt. I have to leave. Are we continuing with this series next week, or how do we do this? Or you will discuss at the end of the meeting and let everyone else know?
Yeah, we shall discuss first, then let everyone know by Monday.
By Monday, today. We can do that today.
Monday
All right.
next week.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so should we look at the different options before we proceed?
Yeah, my wonder is, right? Okay, I don't want to speculate, but let's just try it now. Is this something running in my head? Because I was wondering how we'll create a different process, and but it's possible. Sorry, it's a little bit over my head.
Okay, maybe we can do that on IEX.
Okay.
What I'm thinking is, can we have 2 IEX session? I don't know if it's possible. With 2 different IEX session, that means 2 different processes.
Yeah, let's try that, because if it is in memory, I believe, I don't know, but let's try it. Let's just not speculate. Let's try
Question.
that.
Okay.
Can't you run
Yeah.
for processes in one terminal? Or because if you self is one process.
Yeah, we can, by creating another process.
Exactly.
Pardon?
Yes, what you suggested, Tracy.
Okay, so maybe we can say we have already created one table, then we can create another table in a different process. Maybe if we can use spawn, does spawn work?
Yes.
Okay, so let me look for spawn.
I don't know if in Elixir we have spawn link. Maybe you can type that and see if it's going to tab. Oh, okay. Yeah. Check
Yes,
the
yes,
documentation.
there is. Yes, there is a spawn link, but you can take a look at how it works.
So on the process docs, we have there's spawn, but there's no spawn link. Am I on the latest? Okay, let me go to, yeah. So we have spawn.
Sure.
So maybe I can use this to create another table.
So Tracy, just below the spawn, there's a spawn link function, right?
I can't see spawn link. Or is it in the kernel? Is it a kernel function?
Let me just share that.
Oh, I've seen
Yeah,
it.
it's a kernel function. Yeah, it's a kernel function.
Okay, so we have a spawn link that takes in a function. So spawns the given function, links it to the current process, and return its PID.
So meaning.
So typically developers do not use the spawn function. Instead, they use the abstraction such as task. So maybe we can use this to create a different process. So text anonymous function. Any name for the table? Maybe I can say bucket registry 2. So should we make this public? The other one is protected already.
Yeah. Make it public.
Okay, so we've created another one. So we can use this IX process to try and to look up. Oh, I haven't inserted it, so Okay, now I'm lost. I'm thinking of a way I can insert, but we are in a different process. So we can try and insert since it's public. Mhm. Can anyone help out? Any idea
Yeah,
of how we
that's
can insert?
this was what I was wondering about, and yes, so we so the process can be interacted with using the PID, right? And
Yeah.
so so, so, let's try something.
Uh, what if we tried? Okay, that won't work for this case. Okay. Is there another way that you can use to create a table in a different process?
I was wondering, is there a way of probably creating it in a different module? Maybe I'm not so sure. And
Create in a different model,
yeah, I'm just wondering. So
but still, if we create both model in the IEX, that means they're still using the same process. If I'm not wrong.
Excuse.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at the documentation, and they're creating a module and using Gen server to create it in another process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've used the server to create.
They've used it to create
Okay.
another process.
So do we try and use the server to have a different PD? That is another process. Kevin, will you mind sharing the doc? Okay, so hello.
Okay. I thought you said I share the doc, but I can't share the doc because I've not been able to do screen sharing.
I was referring to the link to the documentation. Sorry. So you can just paste it on the chat.
It's just the same page. I think so.
Yeah, it's the same page that we were, and the view student server. So I think maybe we can be a little bit patient, and we can proceed from here next Monday so that we can pass through this.
I agree.
And see how different access types have been used.
Okay, I had a suggestion.
Okay.
Could like someone read it through, like, so that next time we just go over it quickly?
Read
So
it
like someone,
through.
yeah. So like next time, we know like he or she can answer all the questions.
Yes, that's a good idea, but also we do encourage mobbing whereby we go through bit by bit so that everyone can contribute, and also we try and understand what's going on. The also that is your way, it's also encouraged.
Okay.
Okay, so our time has already elapsed, so we can proceed from here as from next Monday. Thank you all. Okay, bye.